Hi, my name is Gladys. Welcome back to mi cocina, my kitchen. Today I'm gonna prepare empanadas colombianas from the region of Antioquia. That's the state where I am from, and they are delicious. They're super crispy, and we're gonna serve them with hot sauce. I hope you guys like it. For the ingredients, we're gonna use white onions, tomatoes, and green onions. Seasoning, we're gonna use Triguizar, garlic powder, ground cumin, Bijol, and powder Maggi. For the potato and the beef base, we're gonna boil both together. We're gonna do the beef. The beef I like to buy it lean, not too much fat, and I like to buy the little squares like this. Potatoes, you could use any kind of potatoes. In this case, I'm gonna use the large potatoes, the ones we use for mashed potatoes, and you could cut it up maybe in 3 or 4 pieces so they will boil faster. Now we add a little bit of salt. Now while we are cooking the potatoes and the beef, we're gonna make the seasoning for the beef and the potato base. We're gonna add olive oil to a pot. We are gonna cook this seasoning with a medium heat. Then we're gonna saute the onions, the white onions. The chopped green onions. Tomatoes. And a little bit together. And now we're ready to add the seasoning. Now for the seasoning, we're gonna use the garlic salt, Maggi knor seasoning, ground cumin, also again coloring and seasoning condiment, and the last one is called Triguizar. That's a Colombian ingredient or South American ingredient. This is a combination of ground cumin, curcumin, and garlic salt. And of course, you know the salt, you put the salt to taste. And we're just gonna season this for a while. We wanna be sure that the tomatoes, everything is nice and soft. We're gonna saute these ingredients for a few minutes. Because we didn't use too much oil, you're gonna see that it's gonna start getting a little bit dry. So what I like to do, I like to use the same water where I boil the beef and the potatoes, and that's gonna help me a lot. Now I'm gonna check my potatoes and the beef, see how we're doing. Yeah, we're doing fine, they're almost done. And I'm gonna grab a little bit of this water to help me with the sauce. The sauce is a little bit dry, so I'm gonna add a few of these spoons. This is a large soup spoon. You can use this as much as you need. On this recipe, I'm gonna use about 6 spoons like this. Now let's mix it together and look at how nice it's not. The sauce is not sticking to the pot, so it's giving me a very good consistency. And you do want to have a nice moist sauce. You don't want it to dry because you want the potato and the beef base to be soft and moist. Oh, here we have the potatoes and the beef. They're really nice and soft. Let me check the beef. Yes, it feels like it's ready to be pulled apart. The potato is good too. Yes, so we're ready to do this part of the empanadas. Beef, and we're gonna do shredded beef. These days, using ground beef is very common, but the most traditional is to use this shredded beef. In my home, in my family, the tradition is the more beef you could taste in the empanada, the better. So that's why I like to do it this way. But if you have the options, you could also use the ground beef. Now the beef is all done, nice and shredded. We have the cooked potatoes here too. That's the reason I like to boil the potatoes with the skin, because they're easy to peel when they're cooked. And now we're just gonna mash them. Gonna add the shredded beef to the guiso, and we're gonna mix all the beef to the guiso to be sure the beef gets all those great flavors. I'm adding the mashed potatoes, and I wanna also mix it very well, that the beef and the potatoes get really mixed together. The guiso is ready. For the dough or masa, we're gonna use pan, pre-cooked white or yellow cornmeal. We're also gonna use cornstarch. And for the seasoning, we're gonna use a couple ingredients that we also use for the guiso, for the potatoes and the meat. And this is Maggi knor seasoning. And also for the coloring, which makes the empanadas look really pretty, coloring and seasoning condiment, and salt to taste. With a fork to mix all the dried ingredients, be sure to mix them well. The color that we use, the seasoning color, is to be sure that we have a nice yellow empanada. Okay, I think it's already mixed nicely. Now we add the water. And with the fork, we just start mixing the water a little bit at a time. You could also add the water all at once. Usually the recipe is even pan to even amount of water. So if I'm using 4 cups of cornmeal, I will use 4 cups of water. You could use warm water or hot water. Now, as you can see, we're mixing it and we almost have it all together mixed. Mixing it with the fork makes it kind of nice just to mix it, to be sure that all the ingredients mix together with the water, but very shortly we're going to start just using our hands to create the dough. Okay, all the ingredients are mixed nice with the fork. Now I'm going to use my hands and I'm just going to be pressing all the ingredients to make a nice dough. The dough wants to be soft, but yet you want to be sure that the dough is firm. Sometimes your hands get a little bit dry, so you could soak them with a little bit of water. I think it's now we could move the dough to the table to continue pressing, and don't forget your hands will continue getting dry. That's one of the secrets to press the dough. Just continue soaking your hands with water, just not too much, just to give your hands a little bit more easy time to continue pressing without the dough sticking to your hands. I check the dough and I like it. It feels nice and soft, but yet it is firm. And I'm gonna let it rest for 30 minutes. We are gonna start assembling the empanadas. You need a little bit of water on the side so you can refresh your hands. Then we just make between 5 to 10 balls at a time. If you make more than that, the balls might get dry and you just have to rub them one more time. Now we're going to place the dough in between 2 plastics. We're going to use the tortilla press and you don't want to press all the way down. You grab the dough in your hands. This is the traditional way we make the empanadas in our home. You want to use about 2 tablespoons of the guiso, and you could grab it with your hands as well. You also need a little bit of water on the side to refresh your hands, because your hands will get sticky with the guiso. And now we're gonna put all the ends together. Because the dough is a little bit thick on the sides, you have enough dough to press and pull forward to close the empanada very nice and secure. And now you just press a little bit. Sometimes when they come up a little bit puffy, you just press them a little bit down, continue fixing up, and that will give you a very good empanada look. And then sometimes you see a little bit of ribs, you use your finger with a little tiny bit of water, and that will close the little ribs. Now with your index fingers, you're gonna push forward a little bit at a time, and that secures the empanada and it gives you the very traditional empanada look. We're gonna go ahead and make a couple more, so you could get another a little bit of review on it. But also you want to do a little bit of water on the plastic when the plastic also starts getting dry, so you just do a little touch of the drop of water. If you don't have a tortilla press, you can use the bottom of a pan, the bottom of a plate, or a couple cutting boards. Be sure to use the plastic in between the dough. Now we're ready to fry the empanadas. The temperature of the oil should be about 350 degrees. You can also check the temperature of the oil with a little piece of masa. You drop it on the oil. Just be sure it's just a flat piece. And then when you see it pop up, you remove it from the oil. I like to use olive oil. It's a good oil to use, but you can use any vegetable oil. Now the oil is ready, and we're gonna fry the empanadas. We want to slide the empanadas down to the oil, nice and gentle. And on this pot, it's about a small medium pot. I'm putting about 4 empanadas. You don't want to put more than that because you don't want the empanadas to stick with each other. Once you cook the empanadas for about 2 minutes, you could check with a spoon. You could check to be sure that they're not sticking with each other, because if they are sticking, you could separate them slowly from one another. These empanadas are ready. We fried them for 6 minutes. So these empanadas, to get a nice crispy texture, you could fry them between 5 and 7 minutes. Once the empanada is ready, we're gonna remove them from the oil, and we're gonna drain them in a plate with paper towels. gonna do another round of 4 empanadas. The good thing about the empanadas is you can make them today. You could fry them for a couple minutes, remove them from the oil, let them cool a little bit, wrap them in foil paper, and you could keep them in the freezer. Whenever you're ready to have an empanada, just from the freezer straight to the oil, and you will have a fresh empanada. The traditional way that we eat empanadas in Colombia is with hot sauce. For the recipe of the hot sauce, I will have a link right below this video. The traditional way we eat empanada is we take a bite at the first end, then we put the hot sauce. But now I'm gonna cut it in half just to show you the inside. And the best part is because the outside of the empanada is nice and crispy and the inside is nice and moist. And I'm gonna put the hot sauce and I'm ready to enjoy this empanada. Okay, I'm gonna try my empanada. In Colombia, the traditional way is you take your first bite. So crispy, it's hot, crispy on the outside, and soft on the inside. And then once you have a little hole, then you put the hot salsa. So I'm gonna try that. And talk about good salsa. This salsa is amazing. Okay, let's take another bite. So good. And the best way to eat them is when they're nice and hot. Okay, thank you so much you guys for watching. I hope you try it at home. I'm gonna continue eating my empanada. And thank you so much for watching.